Oh, yeah, we are live. This
Super Bowl
is
Sunday.
Red Pill Smash Brothers episode number 31. Of course, I am your I'm your host, and I have my co-host in a way, right? I'm your host, a god amongst men, Corey Capella, co-hosted by none other than legendary UFC fighter, John Fitch. John Fitch, what's going on besides you about to smoke some tobacco?
Yeah. Well, just got back from watching the boys play some flag football. So I did my fatherly duties there, fed them some lunch. Now they're getting a little iPad time while I do this. Yeah, having a good time this decade, starting off good. I've got, one seminar done already. I got another one coming up end of the month on the 29th here in San Jose. I'll have some more video and pictures stuff up from the last seminar, helping push this one. I'm working on setting up the filming of my online course. So it's basically the online version of the seminar I'm teaching, basic self-defense. So I hope to have that out before, summertime. And then, I've got a book sitting and waiting for some pictures so I can get that out there. Weight cut, but I can got the guys. And I just did a nice private lesson in the garage yesterday. A nice 17-year-old kid came in. I put the picture up on my Instagram, but he did really well. It was his first lesson, really. No experience, so there's a lot to grow with. But yeah, it was fun.
Damn.
So hopefully,
Right off the bat, first lesson, huh?
Yeah. So that was the first
Crazy.
lesson, and then we'll see how that goes. We'll see if he wants to do that again, or if I can hopefully tap into some more, maybe some of his friends and some people around him will be interested in seminars, but private lessons also, small groups.
That's not terrible. That's not terrible.
No.
One thing that I'm starting to learn though a little bit though is the still, even the dollar value of it, but trading money for time, it's still causes quite a bit of drain, man.
Yeah, it's and I mean that's one of these
everything,
That's just the immediate. That's just where the immediate money is right now. So I can do that, get that money, and turn it into something else. So like I'll use the money I made from the private or any privates moving forward, or the small groups moving forward. I'll use those to pay for creation of the online courses.
Exactly.
And then the online courses are evergreen. Technique is always going to be technique. I can improve on them, but it's like writing a book, and I'll be able to just keep offering that online course to people, and then keep creating new ones. Like I have one I want to do is just takedowns for MMA, just a course on specifically takedowns for MMA. I think that would do well. And then I would do another one where I put a gi on and I just focus for a little while on creating a series of techniques to use for takedowns in a gi also. That way I can market that straight to jiu-jitsu guys who don't want to guard pull.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I'm even still to this day pretty adamant about not pulling guard.
I hate it. And so many guys, that's just what they do, just butt flop right away.
Yeah.
And I think like
that's the competitive jiu-jitsu player though. The competitive guys are the first ones to hit because they're like, oh, I don't want to waste time. But still at the same time, like, and that's the thing is jiu-jitsu is never meant for this competitive world.
Yep.
It was meant to be practical.
It's morphed.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu came from judo. And obviously we all understand
it all came from samurai killing people.
Right.
It all came from murder and death and violence at the extreme. But then it got broken apart for training and then segmented even further to sport, which is fine. And the sports are beautiful and I love playing them. But at the same time, you need to keep a little bit of reality in your training.
For sure. Yeah. It's like, and there's so many people now today that choose to opt to specialize rather than losing the fun, or rather than learning the fundamentals, right? Before, back in the day, what it used to be was it would be masters. Masters were the only ones that would like actually fight, right? None of their students would fight because why? It was once you
give your gym a bad name too.
Well, that's one. And then two, it's like once you reach a certain level of masterhood is when you want to test it. right? And I get it. So I mean, obviously a big fan. If I were to never spar up to this point in jujitsu, it'd kind of be like, yeah, you know, like it's just like going into competition. You learn your flaws really fast when you go into competition.
Yep. Well, I
But
mean, look at somebody who hits mitts, boxing mitts. Like there's plenty of
yeah,
people who look great on the mitts, but like you put them in front of somebody, like it looks ugly fast.
yeah, it's because in a fight, it's not that controlled. Right? Like it's not just this perfect setup right there in front of you where you got the mitt and you're like, oh, I got to just hit this and I just got to understand this cadence and I got to understand this footwork and all this other stuff. It's like, oh, that thing's moving and
close your
dodging.
eyes. You can close your eyes at a certain point and you don't have to even look because you know the guy's going to catch the punch. You know what the number is and you've thrown it a million times. Like that's why
Yeah,
Floyd Mayweather can turn his head and look at the camera.
yeah.
He's done that combination and hit those mitts that way millions of times.
Crazy. Excuse me. Dude, I survived coronavirus, just to let you know. I'm the first.
Every time my kids cough or sneeze now, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Right? Yeah, especially because you live in such a fucking highly Asian populated area. Dude, every person everywhere, like I live in like literally Asia right now, here in Southern California. So when I got hit with this hard, I was like, this could fucking potentially be. And I think there's actually some cases that are being found in LA and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, they were last I heard there was like 5 in the US.
Yeah.
But like from what I hear, it's not killing anybody for the most part.
I think there are some deaths. There are deaths, but I mean,
probably really weak or sick people already.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no actual correlation to it. I
think the only real threat is if everybody does get sick, then resources are going to be thin and you're not going to be able to get the cold medicine you need or antibiotics you need just because so many people are sick. You're not going to be able to get into the doctor.
Yeah.
So yeah, be healthy, eat healthy. Yeah. And then, social unrest can happen from that. People going crazy.
And have sex.
Keep the pipes clean.
Exactly. It also helps out with the confidence in life. You don't wake up after a night of having some sex with a new person and you're just like, man, I'm a fucking loser. Like I'm the shit. That confidence goes a long way. I'm telling you. Carries it.
Be your new pickup line. You talk about how semen is a cure for the coronavirus.
I like that.
Yeah.
I got the antidote right here. Actually, I usually tell girls that too. Like if a girl's like, oh, I got a sore throat. I'm like,
it's better health. Don't worry. I read there was an article about that somewhere. Talking about
injector.
Talking about that. Oh man.
There's some studies out there.
Yep.
Promise you, cures coronavirus. Exactly. I mean, I got godlike DNA, so it's not going to hurt anything, right?
Nope.
It's not going to hurt anything. How's the dating life been for you there, John?
I've been in kind of a monk mode for a while because I'm trying to get money sorted.
For sure.
I haven't been on any new dates.
So paint a picture of what kind of a monk mode looks like to you.
So I have like I'm not really actively dating, but one of the persons that's helping me with a lot of my business stuff is one of my girls that I date. So we end up spending a lot of time together, and she's pulling in clients and stuff for me, and instead of going out, we stay in, have dinner, and work on the website, work on the seminars, stuff like that.
And then work on some Kama Sutra. Yep.
Well, I'm into it's called Shibari. You ever hear of Shibari?
Yeah, I love Shibari. I really want to get into it more.
I've got several books, and I've been looking around for somewhere I can take lessons. Like sometimes they have these workshops.
I have a girl down here that fucking teaches lessons, but really? I haven't gone in to see her yet. And she actually wanted to, and I was just like, because she exhibits Shibari too.
Yeah. So that's something I would love to do is like you have a cocktail party and people go around and they, smoke J's and drink their drinks. And then you've got models that you come and you tie them up and hang them from the ceiling and people watch.
Yeah, that's cool.
That sounds like a fun fucking ass party.
I like it. I'm into it. I might even adopt that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to
keep it classy.
This is the only reason why I would get a sex doll. The only reason why I would get a sex doll is to practice shibari on.
Yeah, I have like a body pillow. I tried tying some stuff on. It's just not.
It doesn't have the right fucking what's it called to it.
It's not the same.
Yeah. So that's why
I mean, you can get some chest wrap stuff maybe that is okay, but it's still not the same as like a person.
Yeah. Unless you do the like the BJJ doll. But still not the same, not the right dimension.
Still not the same, yeah. And it's not the same either. Like you really do need a living person because there's risk involved because you're putting rope on somebody and you can cut circulation.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting feedback from it, then you can have some major problems. That was something that Tex. He was one of the speakers at the 21 Con, and he was talking about, you should be sober when you're doing these type of things, because if the person isn't capable of giving you feedback and telling you something hurts or whatever, you could have a real problem.
Yeah, you got to have some protocols too. But I definitely want to get some stuff that I'd be able to suspend.
That's what I haven't. I haven't tried doing any suspension stuff because that seems like I need some kind of explanation before I try to hang somebody from the ceiling.
Yeah,
that's intimidating to be like, hey, I'm going to tie you up and suspend you, because like I don't even know how they're getting them up off the ground sometimes. You got
to have a winch.
Well, I don't know if you look at the like I've been following this for a while. I've been watching some of the videos, and there's a couple Instagram feeds that are really good.
Really?
But, yeah, they're but they don't really show any winches or whatever. Everything is by rope. It's just the rope and bamboo scaffolding and stuff they have up.
Oh, that's super cool.
There's some kind of pulley knot that they're able to do some of this stuff with. I think they also may start them. I've heard of Two Naughty Boys. Yeah, I think I have that one.
Cool. Is it good?
I can't remember which ones were better. Some of them are kind of lower level. You know what I mean? Like simple knots, simple things. And what I've learned is like you just need to know a handful of the knots, and then everything else is just kind of like you just free form it.
How to do it?
Yeah. But you'll have more fun just freestyling it. Learn a couple.
So if you had something like I have, like that resource, you would use it.
The book?
No, this girl, she got a collective.
Yes, I would love to go down there, and if she's doing a thing, I would love to do that.
Yeah,
I can go down there. I can teach a seminar and then learn some shibari. That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah, I'll have to hit her up then, because this is something I've been chewing on for a little while. I've just been busy talking about going back into like monk mode as well. I've been in the same boat. But when I do monk mode, I don't fully tap out. It's like I just don't. I'll have one girl come over like once a week. And
and it's like not. And I mean, and that's essentially what I'm doing is like when it's just the girl that I'm working with is also the girl that I'm is my number one basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, and that's an interesting situation for me too, because she's a high value. She's adding value to my life. But at the same time, I'm not tempted to whatever, shackle myself. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a difficult one. Because she's awesome, but at the same time, it's like I don't have that fear of being alone type of thing.
For sure. This guy, JJ the Terrible, says, first off, I got to go back up to one of his other comments. He said, Corey, you got sick right after you said Creed Aventus smelled like lemon pledge cleaner. It's karma. I'm even going to go harder to say that. Creed's not that great. Creed isn't that great. When I'm loaded AF, I'll buy some Creed fragrances, man, but I'm not paying $430 for anything right now. I found a different house right now of a different house for fragrances that are way better. I've worn 2 of them so far, and each time I've worn them, I've gotten laid and I've gotten hit on by numerous women. This is like, and I'm telling you, I have a bunch of fragrances. I've yet to have these types of reactions that I'm getting from this one house. And yeah, I got sick literally right after I smelled Creed. So I didn't even say anything negative yet. I got sick literally like right afterwards. I started getting a headache. It's weird. Anyway, he says bondage ropes, F that. My luck, I'd be tied up and the goddamn house or building would catch fire and my ass would burn up. Not safe. You're not tying yourself up, buddy.
No. Yeah, man. That's the thing is I'm not a, they call it, I've discovered this. They call it a rope top and a rope bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would be the rope top. I have no desire whatsoever of being tied up at all.
Me either. Ever.
That's just not my thing.
I am not a sub whatsoever. I'm not a bottom.
I'm just not into it. If you are, whatever, it's on you, but not me. If the girl asks, it's like, well, that's not fair. Why don't you want to go on bottom? It's like, that's just not me. It's like, you want to tie somebody up, go find somebody else.
Yeah. Go get a girl. Bring a girl into this. You can tie her up. I'll watch.
That'll work. I'll help lift. I'll do the heavy lifting. Yeah. But there were some crazy ties on the Instagram. I'll look up the name of them. I'll share them with what they deserve to be looked at. Like girls having bricks tied to them as they're hanging from the ceiling and hair tied back. It's wild.
Yeah, what's the Instagram?
I'm gonna find it right here.
Do it. I need that. I'm gonna text this girl after we get off too. I'm gonna be like, hey, when are you doing another whatever?
Okay.
Excuse me.
Seb seb.kinbaku2.
What the fuck?
Is one of them.
Hang on.
And let's see if I can. I don't know if you can get close enough to see that.
SEB dot.
Yep. SEB dot KINB.
Hang on, you're breaking up. Okay, KENB.
Here, I should just type it in, huh?
Baku. Yeah.
Because we have the technology.
Oh, I got it. KINBAKU 2. Cool. Yeah. Paris. Hello.
And then there's a number of other ones also. But there's people up in Seattle, I think they do it.
Uh-huh.
That I've seen a lot.
Oh, you gotta blindfold these. You gotta blindfold these bitches, dude.
They blindfold and they I don't know if that's because they're hiding their face or if that's a part of the
No, you gotta blindfold them. It adds to the allure. Right? She knows what's happening.
See what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Heck yeah.
Those are yeah, it's if you it's a trip if you scroll through, spend an afternoon just going through the those ties.
Looking for different things like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to oh shoot, you're putting it in the private chat. Yeah, all right, cool.
The other one
I'll copy and paste that shit. No big deal.
Yeah, I can't find the other one. I have like 2 or 3 that I follow, I think.
No worries. Yo, how are you? Have you seen or heard or noticed any of this stuff that was going on with Kobe's death and feminists kind of pushing back?
Man, so like I didn't say anything about Kobe's death.
Uh-huh.
Right, because I don't know. I don't people are definitely emotional about it and they feel connected to him. I got a couple things to say about it. One is like I don't have an opinion of him because like I stopped watching basketball before Kobe was a thing. Yeah. Like I've never watched a minute of his basketball. I've never seen him play basketball. Right? It's not my wheelhouse. The only thing I really know him for, this is the first thing. The only thing I really know him for was the sexual assault stuff that happened early in his career. Like that happened. Like that girl was choked and anally penetrated. She says against her will. She retracted her statements after she got paid off,
Mhm.
which it could have been a money grab, whatever. But still, he cheated on his wife and then paid her off with the $3 million wedding ring.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't really care. Consenting adults can do what they want to do, but
Mhm.
there's this weird godlike aura around him, and that doesn't really seem like somebody that needs to be lifted up in that way, for one. And then two, like when did musicians and sports athletes and whatever become this like powerful? You
That
know
is
what
a
I'm
good
saying?
question to have a conversation about.
Like why are people so moved about this guy? He played a sport. He dribbled balls and put him in a hoop. Like, why is he being talked about like he was, Martin Luther King? Like, why are people so, up and heartbroken over this? It sucks, yeah. Like, man, but like, he also had an amazing life. So, like, I don't
guess
know.
my
It's
question
just
to you
it
though is this.
confuses me. It confuses me. This is all
Yeah. No, I like this.
people's
I think these
behavior.
let's have a conversation about this because, uh, um, so and this is coming from someone who was in a combat sport in one of the highest you're in the highest paid, what's it called, organization out there. And there's people, I mean, especially in today's world that are being held up and regarded as like legitimately, above the law and above reproach because of their stardom. Do you not think people should be judged based off of that stuff? Like what are your thoughts when it comes to that?
That people should be judged off of what?
Their social clout, I guess.
Social clout.
Yeah, like rising to stardom.
Man, well, I mean, man, it's very nuanced because I don't think there's any, I don't have any problem with him or what he did or anything. Like, I'm not saying, oh, well, he's a terrible person, whatever. My question is like, why are people this consumed with him?
Right.
Okay, because at the same time, they also seem to be consumed with like Me Too and people using power to exploit people. And you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
this virtue signaling stuff going on. I think that's where my real problem lies. So the same person, when the same breath, will talk about the judge that they Me Too'd,
Yeah, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh. In the same breath, they'll praise Kobe or somebody like
Uh,
him. You know what I'm saying? Like
so yeah, they're
that's
not
a
congruent with
major that's a
yeah.
major disconnect for me. But yeah, I believe like, I don't have any problem with somebody rising to power and being powerful. Like it's not an easy thing to do. Like you
Mm,
had to do a lot of hard work to be able to get that many people to like you and support you. Like it's not easy. And and I'm fine with looking at humans as animals and being like, okay, well, he succeeded in that realm where the animals are going to praise him and hold him at a high value. And I have no problem with that. But it seems like we're taught against that a lot, if that makes sense.
yeah. Um, I like the point that you mentioned though about um like sports stars and all this other stuff. Like
Mhm.
how like let's even talk about it. Like rappers,
Mhm.
movie stars,
Mhm.
and sports stars. How did they gain this level of power? How did they
Mhm.
gain this level of
Well,
notoriety?
they stepped in where the old alpha used to be. The guy who fed them, the guy who protected them, the guy who kept the enemies outside of the wall. Like
Mm,
those used to be the heroes,
mhm,
telling stories about the knights and the heroes and people taking risks to make sure everybody else survived. Like that used to be the hero, but now that's kind of poo-pooed on or it's not given attention to. And the
mm.
heroes are these kind of artificial heroes, if that makes sense.
It's boy energy. You look at any of these guys, you look at any of these actors, you look at any of these sports heroes, they're all boys. They've
Mm,
perfected living in imagination land. right? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
you're
that's
playing,
good.
you have no real true adversity that you've ever gone through. You've just perfected playing a game. As an actor, you've perfected playing imagination world, right? As a rapper, you've perfected what? Essentially all that is like you just choose to wake up. I mean, and like here's so these rappers, they're all fucking drugged out of their mind. So they just sit there and they do a shit ton of drugs and they party. It's like the far extreme of just being like a tyrannical boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's been celebrated. It's because it's easy. And it's not to say that it is truly easy, right? But it's easier than like carving your own pathway out and like, you know, hacking through the jungle where there's no path. That path is laid before you. When you're young and you're all this other stuff, you can invest all your time and energy into, oh, all I got to do is just, it's kind of like the 17-year-old kid that you coached yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's kind of the easy path in a way. Why is it? Well, because someone's going to pay for him to get coached by someone from such a high level. And now all he's got to do is just invest his time and energy into being a good MMA fighter. Right. Granted, it's a good skill, but at the same time too, it's not like, I guess, how can I say it? It's not like he's going out and carving his own destiny. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
I know
but that's arguable though, because
I agree. It is arguable.
not very
I
many
agree.
people are able to do it, and
That's true.
you definitely have to pull away from the normies, right? You have to isolate yourself and pull away from the normies, the regular crowd, in order to take that path. Luckily, you know, there is a path there because the other, you know, professional basketball players cut that path. It made it easier for that path. But at the same time, how many teachers, how many people around him told him, "Oh, this is not going to pay off. Who knows? You could hurt yourself." Blah blah blah.
I
All
think
this,
I think
all the naysayers.
no, you're right. I also think too, maybe because the barrier of entry is so low as well, that anyone can kind of jump into this initiation in a way. I mean, you're right. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But one thing I can also tell you is this: like being a high level CrossFit athlete, I was like the 99.99% in CrossFit, right? So genetically. But the people that are all at the top of CrossFit are like the 99.99999%. They're like pure gold, right? They have those genetics on top of all the best gear possible as well, right? That they're just going to naturally, I mean, it's not to take away from them that they didn't rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? But it's also to say that they had a tremendous genetic advantage from the get-go as well. And that's kind of the thing is like, all right, just you alone, did your genetics carry you the entire way?
Yeah, that's I mean, depending on the sport you're in too, is going to depend how much of your genetics, you know, because when you're in a sport where height makes a difference and what weight you are makes a difference, and there's a baseline genetic hacks, I guess. You get to cut the line because you're
Maybe
4 inches
this
taller
is
than
what it is.
everybody else.
Because so I get it. There's some definite hardships that people
because
gotta go
I understand what you're saying too about, you know, some people are just another step ahead genetically. But like I've you know, but being in athletics as long as I have been, those people still don't always make it. You know, like there's an outlying factor involved in somebody doing the work, even though they have the genetics to
I
get
agree.
there and be successful. So
I
I don't
agree.
know.
I agree. Yeah. You know what? Here's 2 points I want to bring up. This guy hits it up well. RPG George says, "Yep, mommy special little boys in the spotlight looking for social validation. A celebrity's life is much easier than the adversity of carving your own path, for sure." Right? So that's one. The other thing too is I think this is just the highest level of decadence. There's no, just like what you said. This is the point I guess I'm trying to make. I think there's people out there that can recognize and be like, Kobe was awesome. He had the genetics, he had the workforce, and he was like magnanimous in that field. But what true legacy is he really going to leave behind, and what true like what true what true legacy, what dent did he really make in the world that's going to actually shape society? And it's like the
Yeah,
reality is, it's
like what do you know him for other than
you were just a
play basketball?
bouncy ball player that put a ball in a hoop for a little while. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't carve a pathway in civilization. You didn't chart a new pathway to the stars.
He wasn't even like the Michael Jordan or whatever. Like he didn't even make that big. Did he make that big of a mark in basketball? Number 4 in the world in NBA.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I get that.
Is that
right?
all time?
It's not to say that these guys aren't. It's not to say that these guys don't put in a lot of work. It's just that it's I guess superficial for sure. It's very, very superficial when it comes to this stuff. Now people will sit there and say, well, Kobe was working on some new stuff and he was doing all this other stuff and XYZ. I get that. I'm not hating on the dude. I'm just being devil's advocate here, like what you're talking about. Like, should we really be touting entertainers, actors, and sports stars as the highest level of alpha male in our society today? Should they be getting the clout and the reputation that they get? I'd even go so far as, should they even be getting paid as much as they're getting paid right now? $40 million a year, something around that line, right? Like, fuck, dude. $2 to $3 million a year to play a game and entertain people.
Well, I mean, let's look at what today does. Look at Super Bowl. Today's a Super Bowl. Look at how much money is going to be made today. How much viewership. This is like the biggest holiday day in America. Like I would say people are more involved in the Super Bowl than Christmas. Like it's everywhere. So I mean, there's just man, we've lifted up consumerism to this point where that's the god. The god is consumerism, and that's why people praise the actors and the actresses and the athletes, is because they're the disciples. They're the disciples of the god. They're out there as figureheads pushing more product.
I feel it. And the worst part, though, is this. It's like, I don't know if you've ever listened to LeBron James talk, but people turn to this guy as a fucking moral authority.
He's the dick tuck on the China thing altogether.
That's what I'm saying.
They have slaves in concentration camps in their country now, and he's like not going to say anything bad about China because he doesn't want to turn away that yen. Like, whatever.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
This false moral authority crap.
Right. But because he's good at playing hoopy hoop, right, and he's got a lot of money. Well, that's really what it comes down to. Just like what you're talking about. People think that because someone has been able to amass a great deal of wealth, that correlates directly over to intelligence. He has some kind of magical way of thinking that's caused him to garner this amount of resources. So therefore,
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is the way that
from a biology standpoint, because you know, a million years ago, the person who had the most resources and the most shit, well, like they obviously
they were the warlord. They ran the ship.
They were on top. They understood something better. They had something that you needed or wanted. So yeah, it makes sense when you talk about survival. It's just a very interesting shift from real survival into like kind of this play survival. I think that's, you know, people think we live in a simulation.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because we're not really living like animals. We've come up with these fake ways of living that aren't really necessary towards living.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot, but it's called, I think is it Jim Calhoun? Calhoun. Mouse Utopia. Have you heard of this before? Have I talked to you about it before?
think you mentioned it maybe before. The Utopia. What is this?
Yeah, John Calhoun, Smithsonian. We'll call it Behavioral Sync as well. Here, I'll pull it up on what's it called. We'll see if this is a good site. If not, we'll switch you. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Is that pulled up? There we go. All right. How 1960s mouse utopia led to grim predictions of future for humanity. John Calhoun studied behavior during overcrowding in mice and rats.
Yeah.
He created this little mouse utopia, right? Where it started off with about 200 some on mice. They had unlimited water. They had unlimited food and no natural predators.
Send me that link.
Sure. I'll put it in the private chat.
Yeah.
Control C. And then just Googleize it too. But oopsies. Doot. Quickly go through this. Here, let's see. Yeah, so these were all part of John Calhoun's experiment to study the effects of population density on behavior, but what looked like mouse utopias and paradises at first quickly spiraled into an out of control overcrowding, eventual population collapse, and a seemingly sinister behavior pattern. The mice were not nice. After Calhoun's 25th habitat and experiment that followed, at the peak population, most mice spent every living second in the company of hundreds of other mice. They gathered in the main square, waiting to be fed, and occasionally attacked each other. Few females carried pregnancy to term, and the ones that did seemed to simply forget about their babies. They'd move half their litter away from the danger and forget the rest. Sometimes they'd drop and abandon a baby while they were carrying it. The few secluded spaces housed a population Calhoun called the beautiful ones. Generally guarded by one male, the females and few males inside this space didn't breed or fight or do anything but eat and groom and sleep. When the population started declining, the beautiful ones were spared from violence and death, but had completely lost touch with social behavior, including having sex or caring for their young. Fuck, dude. Can you believe this shit?
That's wild.
Yeah. Ultimately, rats may suffer from crowding. Human beings can cope. Calhoun's research was seen not only as questionable, also as dangerous, whatever. Really, and essentially what it comes down to is, here, let's see if we can pull up another one. Because transgenderism started becoming popular. Like the mice literally started, what's it called? Oh my God, what's this one say? How mice turned their private paradise into a terrifying dystopia. Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, this was a terrible one. But yeah,
I wonder, man, I wonder what those conditions of overpopulation did to the testosterone.
That's what I'm saying.
Of those rats. The stress, because it could have been added stress because there's more people around, and then the more stress leads to more cortisone in your system, which suppresses the testosterone. That can be a problem. Like they did studies
that started happening. Homosexuality started happening. Cannibalism and eating the babies started to happen. And then ultimately what happened is they reached a crux where they weren't able to impregnate anyone anymore. And the population fucking completely died off every single time in every single experiment. There was not a point where it reached a number where it was able to balance out again. And I think that's essentially what we're seeing right now in today's world. I think we're starting to see the symptoms of all of this.
Well, I think, man, like the overpopulation of cities is a major problem.
Huge. Well, those usually become the epicenters for all this weird fucking wacky stuff to start happening. You know? And then universities are another one. Why are universities the hub of all of these ideas?
Well, it's just because it's the people who stay there the longest. The teachers who are there are generally female, and they're feminized males. So their worldview is going to be a more feminine worldview.
And they've never had to really compete in the outside world. So essentially what they create is a utopia right there on campus. A nice, sheltered, secluded space of like, hey, the world should reflect what this looks like, right?
Everybody's safe. Everybody's taken care of. There's food on campus. Yeah. Makes sense.
So he brings up a good point. I don't think humans are necessarily overpopulating the planet, rather forced to overpopulate certain areas while there's acres of open land everywhere.
Yeah.
100%. At that
100%.
point in time, though, because here's what the problem is we don't have a plan. The way that we garner resources is we don't know how to live symbiotically with the environment.
Well, it's not that we don't know how. We choose not to because consumerism again.
Yeah.
It's cheaper for companies to own a ton of acreage and just raise all the vegetables on that acreage rather than breaking things up and have townships in places that, people have a couple of acres, everybody's got a garden,
Right.
more
that's how it should be.
the centralization of where the food supplies come from. You have, a few big ranches rather than a local butcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. And everyone is ultimately, and everyone has some kind of knowledge and responsibility of tying into it.
And that it points back towards monopolies and trust. That's why we have strong antitrust laws in this country. We have to stop letting the power centralize. But we've been really terrible on enforcing those laws the past 20 years or so, more actually, probably last 40 years. Like, when's the last time they took down a monopoly and split it up? Microsoft, was that something they did? That was like probably the last big one.
Right. Yeah. Well, we had a tremendous opportunity in 2008 to do it, but instead we bailed out all these big fucking wigs that built and propped up all this legislation around it anyway. So, I mean, what did we see happen? Chrysler fucking went out. Who cares? No one's buying fucking Chryslers anyway, even though it's still around. Right. But other than that, like all those fucking companies should have fucking bonked out. Should have sent a lesson. You needed to allow the people beneath them
to come up
because they were doing the right things.
Mm-hmm.
That's the marketplace, right?
Let the market decide.
I agree. My GM has a Chrysler. Is that supposed to be grandma? All grandmas have fucking Chryslers for some reason. They love Chryslers. That's all I see. Whenever I see Chrysler, I know it's a bunch of old people. What about Buicks too? Buicks are driven by fucking old people.
I drove a couple Buicks back in the day. They were always good cars.
Yeah, I love me some Buicks. I never own a Buick. I'm not gonna lie.
I've driven two. They were hand-me-down Buicks though.
Yeah.
Actually, I drove three Buicks. I had a Skylark, and then I drove two Regals. Solid vehicles.
Fucking boats, man.
I drove one out here. It's a two-door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Two-door Buick.
The odometer broke. I had no idea how many miles I had put on it.
Hell yeah. My first car was a 91 Dodge Daytona. It was awful. It was an awful car. It fucking leaked oil like no one's business. It was just a fucking piece of garbage. The flip-up headlights wouldn't fucking work sometimes. It was a 2.5 liter four-cylinder with 99 horsepower. You know how fucking slow that is, John, dude? I'm telling you. You could have probably ridden a fucking lawnmower faster than this.
I think those little Lime scooters have more than 99 horsepower.
Oh my God, it was so bad. Yeah, those fucking scooters could beat that car in a fucking quarter mile like no one's business.
You'd tow your car with a scooter.
That car sucked.
Oh man.
Oh man.
At least you had a car though.
That is true. Better
than not having a car.
You kind of needed a car where I grew up. I lived in a farm town.
Yeah.
You needed a car to get to places. I mean, I'd either bike or rollerblade to places before that, but yeah. Good old stuff. Fucking piece of garbage though. That shit was hilarious. I thought it was a fucking bee's knees when I first got it though. You know what I mean?
I was just happy to drive, man. It's happy to drive anything. just to be out and be free. We had nothing to do on the weekends back when I grew up. We would just drive around.
Yeah.
I drove every street of Fort Wayne 10 times just because we turned the music on, listened to the radio, because we might have had a CD player at the time, but I don't know if I had a tape deck to put it into, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, I just drive around cruising, listen to November Rain.
Fuck, dude, that's crazy.
Stop at the different fast food restaurants, see our friends work, see if we get some free food.
Was
about
so
it, man.
obviously, was that automatic, your car?
Yep.
Yeah. My first car, that Daytona, was automatic. And we ended up having to get rid of it because it was just so bad. And I ended up driving my dad's, he had a Subaru station wagon that he drove during the winter because he had a small little convertible Eclipse, a Spider Eclipse. So I started driving the station wagon, which was pretty cool, but that was 5-speed. So I had to learn. I learned on 5-speed too, by the way. I was rusty with that thing. Fuck. I beat the piss out of that car though.
I had to, man, I didn't learn how to,
all my buddies and shit, like fucking.
I didn't learn the 5-speed until much later, but like I had a job at Purdue one summer where I was washing cars. So every once in a while, they were like the Purdue University cars. So like teachers, whoever had, a company car would bring in and drop it off, and you could rent cars from the university also. So we'd have to, wash them, gas them up, check everything, check the oil. So like every once in a while you get a 5-speed, and I'd fucking stall. There's a few times I had to push it from where it was parked had to push it to the pump and then push it into the car wash. It was bad. I was also very stoned at the time though.
Oh my God. Worst. I remember driving high a couple times. Actually, it was like only one time because I think I smoked weed like maybe like 3 or 4 times before I joined the military. Never liked it. It was super weird. I was more of a drinker. And I remember driving high one time. I had a nicer car by this point in time. I had a 92 Civic hatchback with a Acura Integra motor swap. And it was what else did I have? I had limited slip differential in the transmission. So instead of it being a one-wheel wonder, it actually locked into both front tires. So it gripped like crazy. And I used to street race all the time. Seriously. And that thing would actually beat fucking Mustangs, the 5.0 Mustangs and stuff. I'd have, competitions with friends and all that other shit. But I'd go out and do all this stuff. Yeah, I was once a racer for sure. This thing had the most obnoxious exhaust on it. But dude, I'm telling you, I fucking drove that car like no one's business. I remember it was always a big deal. Like I fucking broke 13 seconds. Actually, no, I did a 13-1 run once, I think. And it was like the fucking greatest thing that ever happened, right? I've been high since 2010. You might, yeah. You probably know my thoughts on that, but that was fun. But then I joined the military. Yeah. But yeah, I drove that thing high one time, and I was literally doing like 40 miles an hour on the freeway. And I remember pulling over at one point in time because I thought my fucking tire popped. I thought it was flat. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. I went and checked it. It wasn't flat at all. It's like, this is stupid, especially if in a state like Connecticut, dude. The cops already fucking hated me for having that fucking car like that. So it's like, I can't ever do this shit again.
A target on you.
Oh my God, it was so bad. Anyway, what else you got, John? You got anything cool? Got anything cool to add?
No, I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking today about just the difference between being a nice guy and being a good guy.
Ooh, let's hear about your distinction.
Well, I just, the nice guy is just a pushover, does everything to appease everybody else. Is trying to be nice, trying to get people to like him.
Makes no waves.
Yeah, makes no waves, just goes along with everything. Has no ideas for himself, cuts no new paths, just is just a simp, just goes along with whatever. and doesn't ever, ask for what they really want. But I think a good guy, you know, operates on his own, does things because he wants to, but also follows, a certain code of ethics,
Mhm.
that he's placed for himself, whether he got them from religion or just personal experience. But he has some level of boundaries. I think it's a big distinction, as somebody who's actively living their life versus somebody who's passively living their life. And it always seems like the nice guys are the ones that always do the creepiest shit.
That's true. Yeah, I was
Like they
talking
do
about that on Dude Party yesterday.
they do the real creepy shit. The good guys can be total assholes. They can be a dick. But chances are, if a good guy is being a dick to you, you fucked up.
Mhm. Yeah,
you
he's
know,
he's he's, establishing a boundary
yeah.
or
There's
reaffirming a boundary. Yeah,
absolutely nothing
you notice
wrong
that
with
too, like,
setting
these guys
boundaries.
yeah, these guys out there that are, like, the through and through feminists that consider themselves allies to feminists are really
Mhm.
the creepiest, that are hiding something, that are operating more in the shadows and are doing this
Mhm.
as a means for them. That's their sexual strategy, is access, right? It's like instead of being overt about their sexual attraction and their sexual desire and wanting to have sex with these women, they instead covertly act as though they're a friend and an ally to get access, and then they
Mhm.
take advantage of these women in their most vulnerable situations possible, right? It's like that's weak.
It's yeah, Ajax asked the question down there, how does society produce nice guys? I think by what it's been doing, shaming people into compliance, using feminist tropes and
Mhm.
teachers and people at every turn telling you about the patriarchy, and you're a piece of shit for being a sexual male,
It's
like
her
liking
turn. It's
sex.
her turn,
It's
guys.
her turn. The
Don't compete
future is
against her.
female. Like
Exactly. It's her turn. You are a bad guy
they're
if
telling you to
you don't
supplicate, man, bow down,
acquiesce.
acquiesce. Don't live your life for you, live it for other people, because you've already taken too much.
It's kind
You're
of funny because
privileged.
I think the last real true understanding of what the good guy was James Bond. I think that's the last real archetype that we've had, and it's kind of funny to see that now this year that they've destroyed that archetype of Bond by making Bond female, right? Or 007.
Mm.
But if you were to really kind of encapsulate like what we're talking about, Bond is the gentleman who can dress well, he can be sharp, but he's also a fucking lethal assassin, so to speak, right? Beds a lot of women, is classy, but at the same time, too, doesn't put up with any bullshit. Now, for me personally, looking at Bond, he's still a little bit too. I mean, Sean Connery, not so
Sean
much,
Connery, yeah. Yeah.
but all these other guys are a little bit too pretty boy and not like muscular enough for all that other stuff. But I think Sean Connery kind of put it in there. And Sean Connery, believe it or not, he went on air before whenever he was going through this stuff, and he talked about slapping
About
women.
slapping women. It's a different time, man.
Hey, I'm on board. Sometimes you got to give him a little tap. That's what he said. This is what he said. Sometimes you got to give him a little tap on the mouth to let him know not to say that. Oh, you really believe that? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It works really well. You should try it sometime. Yeah, that's true. That's the only downfall. But that's how you make Hollywood films, though. Is there always has to be some love interest of this man that settles him down and makes him not so edgy, right? That's the way that you kind of arc the character, even though it doesn't need to happen in real life. And I think that was honestly the beginning of the end, right? It's even the same thing with Jason Bourne, right? He got caught up and renounced all his
Mhm. For a
adventurous stuff.
lady, for a
Yeah,
lady.
and she ended up dying. They
Like
don't
the
really
other
show the truth,
ladies.
though. They don't really show the truth. Is what happens is he still keeps going in order to make the money and make the bacon, and he's gone a lot. And then he comes home to find his fucking house empty and his kids removed and his bank account drained. And then he's got to go through the court system. And then he shows up at work the next day and there's a rape or there's a fucking sexual assault allegation from his former wife. And then they have to
Oh,
go
did you
through and
see
do it.
there's some tapes finally released on the Johnny Depp?
Oh shit, his ex-wife Amber.
Yeah.
What are they
So
showing?
like,
What happened?
well, it turns out with all this shit, it's finally proven that he's the victim in the situation.
Yeah, you're not. I don't see it fucking put all over the internet right now. What's going on with that?
I saw it last night,
Yeah.
on my timeline, but that was, people, right-leaning people posting stuff. But there's audio of him talking with her about her assaulting him, which she has denied ever doing, but like it seemed like a pretty regular thing. It's like,
Is she gonna go to jail?
no, she was the one that like brought charges against him, I think.
Yeah. So shouldn't she go to jail for that?
It would make sense, but that's not the world we live in.
Mm.
That would be real equity.
I'm just asking the question. Remember,
Yeah,
Joe.
you're just
I'm
asking the
asking
question.
the question.
Yeah, you got to ask the questions. How is she gonna know?
Exactly.
But yeah, it's one of those things though. But like we get it, we all get it. Like if you're a man and you're being abused, like what the fuck's wrong with you? Like leave. Like you're the man. Get up and leave. So we don't really have sympathy for him, but at the same time we realize the hypocrisy involved in everybody freaking out about there was a tape where he like threw something at her, didn't hit her, but he's a monster. I mean, it's just I'm tired of the double standards. Like I'm tired of the denial of the double standard. I don't think it is a double standard. I think you have men and women are different and you have different standards for different things.
Correct.
And I think that's fine. I'm tired of the fakeness of, oh my God, it's a double standard. This shouldn't be like this or whatever. Because it only works in one direction. They only care if the women aren't getting something that they want.
Right. But then if men are being abused, mistreated, and taken advantage of in the legal system, it's like, well, suck it up.
Yep. Suck it up. Man up.
Yep. Suck it up, man up.
Quit crying, baby. You incel. You got a small dick.
Consistency is the tool of the patriarchy. How dare you?
Consistency is the tool of the patriarchy.
Consequences is the tool of the patriarchy.
Or how about competency?
Yeah, there you go.
Competency is a tool of racist patriarchs.
Yep. I'm the 9 says denial is real. He also asked what we're up to for Super Bowl Sunday. Any plans?
I'm just at home. I got the boys. I don't think they really care. I might turn the game on just on the other computer just to see what's going on. But yeah, I probably will do some other work today instead. Maybe do some lifting, get some writing done, make some videos.
Yeah, I got to do something similar. I'm going to go live. I'm going to go live at 4:30. I've dedicated that I'm going to go live at 4:30 every single day this month. Although I messed up yesterday. I was busy getting a little campaign going for launching this book. As we all know, I am launching a Patriarch's Vision. Purging Feminism. John, have you seen the cover yet? Okay, let's share that with you, eh? Hey now. Check that out, John. Can you see it well?
Nice. Yeah, blow it up bigger.
All right, let's see if I can.
You can use that window, the big window button.
I don't see a big window button.
It gives you the layout options for our screen.
There you go. Like that.
Yeah. Now it's just one thing on the screen.
Look at that, eh?
That's
great. What do you guys say? I'll be going live.
You get to do the art. That's great.
Isn't it fucking pretty good, dude? I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm going to be sending out a free copy. Not a free copy. I'm going to be sending out a free chapter here within the next week. I've posted in the chat the bit.ly link. I'm going to post it again. Please do, even if you've emailed me at agodofmen, this is going to make it easier because it's now just going to be consolidated into one thing and I can just fire and forget, which makes life a lot easier. So please do click that link if you want a free copy. A free chapter. I just went through the book again this morning and I've solidified which chapter I'm going to send out. And I have to be honest with you guys. I've reread most of the book. I'm actually blown away by myself. I forgot as I was wrapping up and getting ready to write the final chapter and all this other stuff. I've kind of forgotten like what I had written previously. So I've gone back and looked through, and holy fuck, like it's insane. I'm very, very proud with how this turned out is all I have to say. Things are said in this book that have needed to be said. Let me repeat that. The truth that we all know and are aware of what's going on in reality within our society is said within this book. All parts of it. It's, the crescendo is me fucking hammering on feminism, which is also just a means to kind of like obviously get some eyes on and some optics on there. But the whole book is just phenomenal. So when I send you this free chapter, I'm also going to send a full table of contents too. So you're going to be able to see what is in the entirety of the book as well. So please do, like I said, click the link, join the email list. That way there, I'm going to keep you guys abreast as well of when this book is released, barring nothing bad happens. So that's all I got for you guys right now. Be on the lookout too. I am producing a new website, just coreycapella.com, where you're going to be able to go to in order to have access to all the things that I'm doing right now on top of, what's it called? On top of scheduling coaching calls with me one-on-one as well. So be on the lookout for that. And then I'll have, once this is launched and once I get some stuff ready, I got another big thing on the works too, kind of like what John's doing. So stay tuned. Continue to watch 4:30 every single day for at least this month. If not, it's going to be 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard, Monday through Friday. But for this month, for the month of February, every single day I'll be on at 4:30. So I'll be on at 4:30 again today, just for a half hour, because at 5 p.m., guess what we have? We have our webinar with WarTribe from 5 to 7 p.m. Yes, I will still be doing WarTribe webinar today, even though it is Super Football Day. All right. So if you're not a member of WarTribe, go over to www.thewartribe.com in order for you to get access to this guy. All right. John Fitch, what do you got?
Yeah, check out John Fitch Knows Nothing. That's my podcast.
Official John Fitch is
Official John Fitch is YouTube channel. I've been putting up one-off videos, just commenting on different things popping up I think are funny. I recently did a video talking about how there's a stupid article they called monogamy. They said toxic monogamy, seven reasons or 7 clues.
Yeah, I saw that. What the fuck was that about?
It was just a toxic relationship. Like they just word baited me into it.
Oh my God.
It's like any of those things on the list were, if it was any relationship, if you were in a polygamous relationship, like they would all be bad too.
Polygamy.
So whatever. So I did a video on that. I thought it was interesting, but I got more videos to come. I'll probably cut some today. I have the seminars coming out. Look for seminars coming out in a city near you. I'm looking to get the online course filmed hopefully this month, and then hopefully that'll be available in a couple months. Still waiting on approval for some pictures for my weight cutting book, but a lot of things moving forward. Feeling good about this decade.
Hell yeah, I agree. This year is going to be fucking phenomenal, but for sure this decade. So,
oh yeah, I've got my my store on my website, johnfish.net. You can sign up for the newsletter. I opened my stones company store. So I make these toke stones, right? You can smoke your weed out of them, you put your CBD joint in them. And yeah, it's just a fun thing to smoke with. And I put that up for sale this last week. So I took it off. I got kicked off of Etsy, but
no way.
Yeah, because it's contraband or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing it from the website now, and they're CBD usage, so we're legal.
Cool, man. Awesome. All right, guys. With that said, we'll be seeing you guys later. Shit. All right, cool. See ya. Adios.
Later, dude.